Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So I'd just like to welcome all of you to today's webinar. So today we are going to go over social media, basically why do we want to use social media, as well as the social dashboard. So how you can integrate your social networks into the Business Center, which is the software that we give you. So hopefully this will answer some of your questions that you may have and maybe dispel some myths for you. So before we even get started with this, I just would like to remind you that we do have a new webinar training website up for the schedule. And basically that's just website webinartraining.com. Okay, and here you're going to be able to go ahead and find the website training webinars, the social media webinars, and the SEO and marketing webinars. Okay, so that's where this is going to be, and we will be doing for social media, Facebook and Twitter and Google+. Okay, so today we're just kind of going more over the Business Center as well as, why social media. So if you have questions about those, other social networks more in detail and whatnot, you'll definitely want to attend those webinars. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So the very first question that I generally have come up is why social media? What does social media have to do with marketing my business? My grandkids use it, my children use it, maybe I've used it, but what does that actually have to do with selling things, right? In the past, Facebook was a great way of keeping in touch with friends. It was even started, by college students. It was a great place of, finding out where we're going to hook up for the weekend to go party and whatnot. But now it is definitely evolving, and you're able to use it on such a grand scale as far as your business. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next slide here. So you're probably going to want to ask these questions before you get started. Okay, so what is going to be my return on investment? Okay, so how much am I going to invest in this and how much am I going to get out of this? Okay, which social networks are my customers using, right? You need to understand who your ideal customers are before you even jump into social media. You don't want to just jump out and start marketing to everybody because then you're going to be spinning your wheels. You only have so much time and so much energy. So you want to make sure that your message is getting out to the right people. Okay. Moving on, what are my customers using the social networks for? How can I automate as much of my social networking endeavors as possible without sounding like a robot? Okay, so again, you want to be as personable as you can. I mean, that's what social networking is all about, right? People being social. You don't want to go on there and, kind of be like the used car salesman and slapping people in the face with offers and so to speak spamming people. It's kind of a big turnoff. Of course, that is what your goal is, to market and sell your business, but you definitely don't want to. I mean, there's a right way of doing it and a wrong way, and you don't want to be offensive to people or even get into that annoying category. Okay, and then of course, how do I tie all of my social media outlets together, which is what we're going to go over in the second half of this webinar. Okay, so now we have a couple stats here that you might find interesting. Again, this kind of goes to answer the why social media. Why is this really that important? Well, I'll tell you right now that 60% of all traffic online goes to a social media site, be it Twitter, Facebook, Google+, YouTube, LinkedIn, what have you. So it's actually, it is very important. Whether social media is your cup of tea or not, I guarantee you have customers out there who it is their cup of tea and they are on there every single day. And so you definitely need to tap into it. Okay. Let's go ahead and show you here. Twitter was doubling in size every 90 days until recently. Okay, so it is definitely the fastest growing social media network out there today, currently. Okay, and again, we go over what Twitter is, what Facebook is, what Google Plus is. We'll go over all of that in a great more detail in the other webinars that we'll be putting on for you. Okay, here's some more for you. So Facebook has over 1 billion users. So it is currently the #1 social media site out there. Now, to give you an idea of just how grand that is, if Facebook were a country, it would actually be the 3rd largest country in the world. Okay, so that's actually pretty phenomenal. It is just up there. It's 1/6 of the world's population plus is using Facebook. Okay. And currently the fastest growing sector on Facebook is 55 years plus. Okay, so it's definitely important to understand, who's using Facebook. Okay, the second largest social media network is YouTube. Okay, they currently also have over 1 billion users. Okay, now over every minute, 48 hours is being played on YouTube, and over 3 billion videos are being streamed daily. Okay, so that's 3 out of every 7 people on the planet. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what that means, YouTube controls more eyes than NBC, ABC, and CNN combined. Okay, so you tell me, is this useful? So it's actually, and just to give you an idea with YouTube, the how-to is actually the #1 search for video out there. Okay. So moving on, so currently more than 80% of people who use social media actually do so from their smartphones. Okay, so if you want to get a little bit more accurate, I do believe it's about 89%. So it's actually pretty phenomenal. People have social media with them all the time. It's not just when they, are sitting at home in front of a computer. They are actually able to go in here and almost any time of the day, they're able to keep in contact with Twitter, with Facebook, and they just know what's going on. Okay. So moving on. So just so you know, there are more searches done on YouTube than on Yahoo and Bing's search engine combined. Okay, so that's pretty phenomenal. So again, that just kind of leads to the point, what social media networks should I be using to market my business? Okay, so let's go ahead here and kind of change gears here and kind of discuss, what would happen if a customer has a bad experience, or even a good experience for that matter. So let's say a customer has a good experience, right? So in the past, he would tell one person, and that's great, on average, So if they had a bad experience, and this is you too. I mean, just think about your own experiences. If you had a bad experience, you'd tell 11 people. Okay, so that is pretty significant. You can't afford to be negative. Okay, now currently, this is before social media, right? This is what happens with social media. Okay, so whether you have a good or bad experience, you're going to be reaching out to about 229 people. You might wonder where we got that number from. Well, that's the average number of friends that people have on Facebook. Okay, so if you have a good experience, people are going to hear about it. If you have a bad experience, people are going to hear about it, right? So you cannot afford to have a bad experience. But on the reverse side of things, when you do have a good experience with your customer, it's definitely going to reach out to more people. So it's kind of taken what was done in the past and has amplified it that much more. So as you can start to see here, social media really is important as far as marketing your business. Now, I'm going to give you an extreme example here. Some of you may have heard of Dave Carroll. He was part of the Sons of Maxwell Sons of Maxwell band. And what had happened is they were on a flight, and while they were sitting on the plane, there was a woman that was sitting behind them that was looking out the window, and she had, screamed out loud, they're throwing guitars down there. And they had looked out the window on the tarmac, and they had actually saw the baggage workers throwing over their heads. They were throwing their, $3,000+ guitars. And of course, that just immediately freaked them out. They're like, oh, geez, we have to stop this. So they got up and they tried to tell, one of the flight attendants, the first person they saw, and she just immediately cut them off and said, oh, I'm not the right person, go find someone else. So she didn't really seem to care that much. So they did, they went and found somebody else, and same thing. They were just told, sorry, can't help you. You need to go find somebody else. So by the time they had gotten off the plane and out to, getting off the plane, they spoke to the person that was standing there and said, look, they're throwing guitars around out there. This is very expensive equipment. And the lady, of course, replied with an outrageous, that's why you signed the waiver, sweetie. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure any of you can put yourself in these people's shoes. And I mean, if you had something that was, important, special to you, and you just saw someone treating your property like that, you would not be very happy, let alone if someone just responded to you like that. So, as the story goes on, the guitar was damaged, and it did over $3,000 in damage to it. So they needed to have that repaired. So, long story short, they were working with United Airlines, okay, to get their guitar fixed. And after about, it was just under a year of working with them. And if you wanted to look this story up, definitely go to Google and type in Dave Carroll. He actually tells it in his own words. And yeah, it was just a year of pure frustration, of just constantly going back and forth, starting over again, until finally, at the end of a year, they told him straight up, "Sorry, we're not going to fix your guitar, and this is the last you're going to hear from us about this, so drop it." Okay, so he replied back in an email and said, "Okay, well, I'm not without options. I'm going to go ahead and create a video." Okay, several videos about this. Okay, and so I mean, he had a sense of humor, so he went in and he created a video called United Breaks Guitars. Now, some of you may have heard of this and maybe even seen it. If you haven't, go to YouTube, type in United Breaks Guitars. It's kind of humorous, but this is kind of the ultimate payback of what he had in his mind to, these guys just don't care about their customers, right? They send them through systems that are just meant to frustrate them out of not caring anymore. Long story short, he created his first video, and within a couple months, he already had over 1 million views. I believe within the first week, he already had over 500,000 views. But he is currently up to 13 million views with this, right? 13.5 million views. Okay, so as the story goes on, this got United's attention almost immediately, and they responded to him with, well, we're very sorry this happened. We'll definitely take care of your guitar. And at this point, he didn't even care anymore. He's like, I don't really care for the money. Just give it to a charity and we'll call it even, right? He was a good sport about it. So as it so happens, if I understand correctly, United didn't give it to a charity. So he made video number 2. So he had, 1,710,000 hits with that currently. Okay, so United got their act together and they eventually did, give it to a charity. But he went on to make video number 3, as he said he was going to in the email that he sent them. Okay, and that one has 666,000. Okay, now to give you an idea of how damaging this was to United, they have lost an estimated of $180 million. Okay, and within a week of this video posting to YouTube, their share prices dropped 10%. Okay, so as you can see, this is an extreme example, but this is supposed to show that how much social media can impact and you can get your message out there, right? Now, of course, this is a negative example. We're going to teach you how to do this in a positive way, where you're going to be able to reach out to your customers and leave a very lasting good impression on them. Okay, again, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Dave Carroll experience, go look it up. It's actually a very interesting story. Okay, so at this point, let's move on to managing your brand. Okay, so you definitely want to be involved with social media. Now, this is something that, a lot of people have questions in the beginning. Well, do I have to do these things? And the answer to the question is no, you don't have to, but you'd be shooting yourself in the foot by not doing it, right? I think I've illustrated how much social media can influence people. So you just want to be involved and make sure that you're getting a return on your investment, right? You want to make sure that you're not just spinning your wheels and just doing work for the sake of doing it. Okay, you also want to remember to be yourself. Okay, so be transparent. Again, social media is all about being social and being friendly with people. They don't want to go deal with robots or just people who are just, come buy from me. They want to be friendly and they want to, know that the people they're talking with are good people, that they're doing business with real people. Okay, so again, going back to that, used car salesman, don't be salesy. People are going to be able to see, as you will see from the coming webinars that you're watching, that you are a business just from your username and your logo that we'll be creating from you. So you don't need to always be slapping people in the face with your, business card. Hey, come buy my, whatever you're selling, right? So just just remember that just being friendly is almost always what you'll need to do. And we'll come back to that in a minute with the party principle. Okay, but just know what people are saying about you. And you can do this. There's actually a site out there called socialmention.com. And this will give you daily email alerts of your brand. Okay, so this is another tool that you can use, and basically this tool will link all of your social media, be it Twitter, Facebook, and it will search the content on there, and you'll be able to search and see if what people are saying about your brand. Okay, when people do respond to when people do, comment on your brand and interact with you, respond quickly. Okay, you don't want to show that. I mean, if someone says something or replies to you or comments to you, and it takes you a week to get back to them, it just sends the message that you just don't care, right? And in this day and age, it's just so easy to purchase things that person has probably long since moved on, and they're probably looking or have probably already made a purchase with somebody else. So just make sure that you're being very, very quick with those sort of things, okay? So moving on to the party principle. Again, social media is about being social and being friendly, right? So here's a very great example of what you should be doing. So to have success with social media, do the same things that people are doing at a party. So number one, don't be pushy. Okay? Don't be obnoxious. Okay? Be funny. Be kind. And be memorable. Listen first and sell second. Okay? So these are all very important principles. Okay? So the content that you will be putting in your social media is currency. It really is. I mean, it is the new currency of the modern age. How able you are, or how able you are to engage your customers with your comments and your tweets and your Facebook posts and your sales and your blogs that you write and all the different things that you do is going to affect you. Okay, so just remember that you again, with social media, just treat everybody like you would they were your best friend. So if you run into your friend at the mall, the first thing out of your mouth isn't going to be, "Hey, I just opened a website, come buy from me." It's probably going to be, something like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you'll start a conversation from that. Same exact principle with social media. Okay, just as awkward as it would be if you jumped in and just offered jumped into a sales pitch with a friend you haven't seen in a month or two. Same principle. It's going to be kind of awkward feeling if you do that on social media. But again, we'll discuss those strategies and everything in the coming webinars that you will be watching. Okay, but hopefully this has maybe answered some of your questions about why social media. What does social media have to do with marketing? Okay, so now we are going to change gears and we are going to move on to the social dashboard. Okay, so the social dashboard is a tool within the Business Center. It's basically the Get Social tab, which I'll show you here in a minute, which you get with your software when you purchase a package with us. And with this software, you're going to be able to do some pretty neat things that you wouldn't be able to do alone with just Twitter and Facebook. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and show you how you can log into that. So for that, all you will do is you'll put in your website address or your URL. So I'm going to go ahead and we have a website set up here just as an example for this video or for this webinar. But what I'm going to do is you go ahead and type in websitewalkthrough.com, and then once you get that in there, type admin. Okay, so again, this part of the address will be whatever your domain is. Okay, so whatever your website address is, and then just type /admin. Okay, once you do that, it will take you to the login page right here. Okay, so at this point, this is where you're going to want to put in your username. Now, usually this is going to be your first initial, and then actually, let me change this, and then your last name. So in this case, we have W walkthrough for website walkthrough. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and put in your password. Now, this is a password that is going to be something that we sent you in an email. So if you don't have this yet, that's okay. That just means we're still working on your site. But once we get your site completed, this password will be sent to you through email. So let's go ahead and click on log in. And this will take a minute. And this is going to be what we refer to as the Business Center. Okay, so this is what you're going to see. You're going to have access to your email right here. You're going to see these tabs up top, website, my website, so you can edit your website here. So this is basically the back door to your website where you can make changes, edit it. Some of you may already be familiar for this. You can set up coupons under the run specials. You can set up emails with your employees, but the one we're looking for is the Get Social tab, okay? So for some of you, that might be over here under the More column. You'll see Get Social right here. But for some of you, it might be right here. So what you're looking for is the Get Social. Now, subsequently, I want to mention this. If there is no Get Social tab here, that just means, number one, that we're still setting up your social media sites. So we just haven't got to activating this yet. Or it could be that this just needs to be activated. So if you already have your social media site set up and you still don't have the Get Social tab, definitely give us a call and we'll set that up for you. If you don't have your social media sites and there is no Get Social, that's probably because we just haven't reached that point yet, okay? Most of you will probably fall into that category. Now right here in this blue tab, sometimes you might see update, where you can update your website. And we do updates, every month or two. So if you ever see that, just go ahead and click on that and click on the update. And that should take maybe about a minute or two to update. Okay. But with that said, let's go ahead and click on the Get Social tab. Okay. Now again, there's going to be a lot to take in here, but the main things that I want you to take note of is Communicate, Settings, and Facebook Pages. Okay. So these are the three tabs that we're going to have you do. Okay, so the first one we're going to go to is the settings. Okay, now under the settings, you're going to be able to sync all of your social media with your business center. Okay, so for instance, we currently have Facebook and our Twitter synced. But if you wanted to link or sync LinkedIn or Foursquare or Instagram, you can do that as well. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and deactivate Twitter just to show you how to do this. Okay, but this is how you were to deactivate it if you wanted to. But if you wanted to if you're currently logged into your Twitter account, quite simply, all you have to do is just click on Authenticate Twitter, click on Authorize App, and that's it. So just let it work its magic here for a second, and it will refresh the page for you. And there you go. So Twitter is now synced with your business center, which we'll show you in just a minute here under the Communicate tab. Now, if you weren't currently logged into Twitter or Facebook, that's fine. You can still click on the Authenticate Facebook or Authenticate Twitter. You just need to put in your password and username. Okay, and that goes the same for any of these other social media sites that you might be using. Okay, but this is going to be the first page that you're going to want to come to when you get into the Get Social tab. Okay, so let's go ahead now and at this point click on Communicate. Okay, now the Communicate tab is pretty straightforward, but if this is something that's new to you, social media, some things will definitely need to be explained. Okay, so right here, the first thing you'll notice is this big box. Now this is where you're going to write your messages. Okay, so this will be the same as on Twitter if you were to click right here on this feather pen. Or if you were to click right here when you're on the Home tab, you can click right there and write your tweet. And if you're on Facebook, it's the same as writing out your Facebook page. Okay. So once you do that, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and type in Twitter because that's who we want to send this to. Now, subsequently, we have only Twitter and Facebook synced with our business center, right? We don't have LinkedIn or Instagram. But if we were to have those synced, they would also appear here as options to send messages to. And also we just have one fan page synced with our Facebook, but if you have multiple fan pages with your account, it'll sync every single one of your fan pages in here. Okay, so all you'll need to do is just decide which social networks you want to send your message to. So be it Facebook or your Facebook fan page, your business page, or Twitter. So in this case, I'm just going to do Twitter, but I'm going to put and I'm just going to use camping supplies. .com is now on Twitter. Okay, exclamation, because this is exciting for us, right? So we're going to go ahead, excuse me, and this is a great example of a first tweet. It shows that you're new to Twitter, but you're not new to the game per se. Okay, so once you have that set up as Twitter, go ahead and click on the Send Now. It will send you a message that it was sent successfully. Click OK, And we can come back over here to Twitter, and let's go ahead and refresh this. Hold on just a second. Okay, so campingsupplies.com is now on Twitter. Okay, so you're able to actually send your messages, and the same will be true of Facebook and your Facebook fan page if you wanted to send messages to those. Okay, so this is pretty neat. You're able to manage all of your social media in one place. So you don't need to go to Twitter and then go to Facebook every single day. Okay. Now the next feature is the send later feature. Now this is actually a really neat feature that you do not get with with your social networks alone. This allows you to schedule out your tweets. Okay. So you don't need to come into, for instance, Twitter every single day and write your message, or Facebook every single day and write your message. You're able to come in here and schedule out your tweets. So for instance, we have Black Friday coming up, right? So we'll go ahead, and we also have Cyber Monday. So let's say we're going to do Cyber Monday. So Cyber Monday, 10% off, oops, everything. My fingers haven't woken up yet, folks, so forgive me here. Off everything. Okay, excellent. So now we want this to go to both our Facebook and our Twitter accounts, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on Send Later, and I want this to go out tomorrow, Wednesday. And I'm going to go ahead and choose 7 a.m. Okay, click on Schedule, and it will tell you that the message was scheduled successfully to Facebook and to Twitter. Okay, so it moved it down to the scheduled column. Okay, so we'll go over these scheduled columns here in just a little bit, but this scheduled column can keep track of every single tweet that you write. I mean, you can technically do up to a year if you wanted to, but we do have customers, or clients I should say, that come in here and they will write out all of their tweets for the whole week. So they'll spend maybe 10-15 minutes, if that even, writing out their tweets and their Facebook posts or their LinkedIn posts. And then they'll go ahead and schedule those out, and then they don't need to worry about it. Or we also have some who will do it for the entire month. Okay, and we still have some people who like to do it on a daily basis. Okay, so it just kind of depends on you. There is no right or wrong way of doing it. It's just what works for you, right? This is your business. You know yourself, you know your abilities, you know your time, you know your energy. So something that might work for somebody else might not work for you. So just make sure that you're finding what works best for you and setting that up. Okay, but let's say you wanted to edit this. Let's say, oh shoot, we didn't want to do Cyber Monday yet, we wanted to do Black Friday, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on the pencil right there. We can edit the message up here. I'm going to put Black Friday, 10% off everything. Okay, and I'm going to change, well, I'm not going to change this, but you could change the date and the time if you wanted to. I'm just going to go ahead and click on Schedule. And as you can see, it has now changed. So again, this can be very useful for when life happens. Sometimes emergencies come up. You never know what's going to happen. And so in those times, your tweets and your Facebook posts and whatnot are going to go out as scheduled, even with any emergency you're dealing with, because you already preemptively planned it. Okay, so that can be very useful for you. Okay, but let's say you didn't want to just edit it. You just want to delete the whole thing, right? So we'll go in here. We'll click on this button right here and click on delete. Are you sure? There we go. Okay. So now for those of you who have purchased Facebook and Twitter packages with us, we will be setting up not only the scheduled column for you, but we'll be setting up 10 Twitter feeds for you. Okay, and a Twitter feed would be basically, this would be a great example right here, would be, let's say you sell pet supplies, so you can type in just got a cat, right? Okay. So instead of needing to come onto Twitter on a daily basis and type in the same phrase over and over as you're searching for your ideal customers and whatnot, you can just save that in here. Okay, so every time you come into your business center, that search will automatically always be saved. It'll always be updated, and you'll just be able to read through very quickly and see if there's any people that you would like to interact with. Okay. So again, with Twitter, the two things you're going to be doing is interacting with people and writing your own tweets. Okay, but let's show you how to add your own column now. Now, there's 3 ways of doing it. Number 1, you can click on this gear right here and set up your column. You can click on Add New Column right here, and you can also click on Add New Column right here within this box. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click right here to add new column. Now, if you were to have other social networks set up besides Twitter and Facebook, which again, that's the only two we currently have set up, that would also appear in here. So for instance, if you had your LinkedIn account synced in here, that would appear here as another social option. Now, as far as the scheduled, you only need one of those. So if you already have a scheduled, which we will be setting up for you, you don't need this again. So you can disregard that. Okay, but let's show you what columns you can set up for both Facebook and Twitter. I'll start with Facebook. So there's two that you'll be using with this. Number one, your news feed. Okay, so to give you an example, that will be basically this middle column right here. So when you communicate with your friends and whatnot, that will be right here. Okay. And you also have your notifications. So this is anytime anybody friends you, or if they've liked your comment, or if they've commented or sent you a message, any of that will appear under your notifications column for Facebook. Okay, I'll show you how to set that up. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel now, and let's move on to Twitter here. Okay, so the Twitter, we have the mentions, which is exactly the same as your Connect tab in Twitter right here. So you're going to be able to see how people interact with you and how they're, if they're mentioning you and whatnot. Your timeline is going to be the same as your home page on Twitter. So right here, this right-hand side, anytime you tweet or the people you're following tweet, it will appear in your timeline. So same for this. So anytime any of your friends or the people you're following tweet, it will appear in there. We also have the search, which is what I was talking about with, doing the Twitter feeds. We'll come back to that in just a minute. But we also have the trends column. So this you may or may not find useful for your business. This is just currently what's trending on Facebook, right here in this box. So this may or may not be useful for you. It just depends. But for the most part, I'm going to just kind of jump the gun here and say you probably won't need this as far as your business. But it is a great column to add if you wanted to keep up with current affairs. I know a lot of people who actually get their news from social network sites like this now, just because it's mostly unbiased. People just kind of say what's going on. So that can be something that you could set up. Again, it might not be useful for your business. But coming back to the search, let's go ahead and show you how to do that. Okay, so if you remember on Twitter, I typed in just got a cat up in the search bar. So you can go ahead and do that here. So just got a cat. And you're going to want to press enter, and that's going to move it down to the saved searches, and then it's going to give you the examples of the people on the right hand side. And this is going to be exactly the same as when you were over here and you typed in just got a cat, right? Okay, so with that said, if you like what you see, go ahead and click on add column, and then your just got a cat column will be there. So when you come on to your business center, this will always be saved for you. And again, we will be setting up 10 of these, 10 separate ones. So this is where understanding who your ideal customer is comes into play, right? Who are they? Like, how old are they? What kinds of things are they going to be talking about? What kinds of questions would they have for you? And why are they even wanting your product or service in the first place? Understanding all of these things is really going to help you narrow down who you want to interact with, okay? But once you find someone who you want to interact with, there's 3 ways from here. You can go ahead and reply to them. You can retweet their message, which means that basically all of your followers are going to see what they have said. Or you could also click on the view, and that's going to show you their profile page. So again, just to show you from Twitter, you've got reply, retweet, or if you click on their page, it's going to pull up their profile page. That's the exact same with these 3 buttons, okay? So that is it for the columns. One last thing I am going to show you. This is a feature that could be very useful for people who, for instance, offer services and not just products, right? So let's say you're a massage therapist and you're trying to find clients for you to massage. Reaching out to the entire United States is not going to be effective to you, right? I mean, people would be interested, but they're going to be states away. They could be an entire, coast away. You might be on the West Coast. They could be on the East Coast. So what you want to do, so type in need massage, just as an example here, right? But you're going to be searching for, whatever you feel your business is going to be able to who you want to reach out to with your business. Okay, you're going to be able to geo-base your results. So you're not going to reach out to everybody in the United States, just people close to you. So you go ahead and right here click on yes, and it will return results within 1 mile. Now currently we don't have any results within 1 mile of my current location, so let's go ahead and change it to 5. And as you can see, we have people within 5 miles of my current location who are saying that they need a massage, right? So you can go ahead and change that to 10, 15, 25, so on and so forth, up to 1,000. So just whatever you want to set it to. So again, this can be very useful for people who are looking for customers and clients locally. For those of you who are offering products and you don't really care, you're just trying to reach out to everybody, you'll just want to make sure that you leave this off, okay? But you can also change your location here. You might just want to click on this just to make sure that the location is correct. But again, we're going to turn this off, and let's go ahead and add column. Okay. Now, some of you may have had the question, well, what if I wanted to move, this Just Got a Cat is really working for me, and it's doing an excellent job. I'm getting a lot of results from it. I want to move it to my primary. Or you might have the question, well, what if it's not working? I just want to delete it. It's just taking up space. I don't really like it. How you will fix that is up here in the settings button. You can, of course, set up your accounts again, but the main thing here is the columns. You can, of course, delete the column right here and then click on Save, and that will delete the column. Or you can just left-click on, whichever feed you want and just move them around, see? So you can just move them in the order that you want and then click on Save. Okay, so as you can see, we now have Need a Massage this first, Just Got a Cat. Of course, these are two separate businesses, but you get the idea. I mean, you're going to be doing this with your own, so they will be familiar. And then as you can see, the schedule is clear over here at the end now. So you're able to kind of rearrange things the way that you want. Okay, so let me give you an example of deleting things. So I'm going to come back in here, delete Just Got a Cat, and I want to move scheduled to the front again. So I'm going to click on Save. And there you go. Scheduled is the primary position, followed by Need a Massage, and then of course your news feed from Facebook. Okay, so excellent tool that you can be using here. The send bulk reply may or may not be useful. We actually added this at a time where it was okay to send multiple, a lot of multiple messages at the same time. I would actually shy away from using this now, and at some point we actually probably will remove this entirely, just because Twitter and Facebook, in order to protect their customers from getting spammed, which is good because it protects you too, right? But in order to protect them from that, they've, if you send the same message to 3 or 4 or 5 people, you can get your account banned. Okay, which again, if that isn't the end of the world. You can still unban it. They'll just remind you of their terms of service and whatnot, but it's just not very useful anymore. So you can use it if you feel that you just want to reply to maybe just 2 people. You find that these 2 are just people that you just really feel that you've could be ideal customers and could buy from you, then you can go ahead and do that. But for the most part, I would shy away from this. But what you do is you just come down here, select the 2, write your message, and then click on Send Bulk Message. I'm going to go ahead and click on Cancel because we don't want to do that. So that is it for the Communicate tab. So again, for some of you, this may have been a refresher. It might be familiar because you're familiar with Facebook and Twitter. For others of you, social media is new, and this feels very overwhelming. I would just like to remind you that we are here for you. I don't want this to be overwhelming for you. I just want you to kind of take in as much as you can, and you may find yourself watching this video again, and that's why we are going to be recording this, because we want you to be able to watch this as many times as you need to, and to reach out to those people. Okay, so and reach out to your customers using this tool. Okay, so with that said, we've gone over settings now, and we've gone over Communicate. The last thing that we're going to go over is our Facebook pages, okay? So when you sync your Facebook account, it will automatically sync all of your Facebook fan pages into the Business Center as well. Okay, so to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, and for those of you who might be new, so you have your personal account, right? So your personal or your Facebook account is what you use for your personal use. This is where you have friends with your family, friends, and whatnot. Your fan page is made for businesses. That's the difference between the two. So you'll go ahead and click on this gear and click Use Your Fan Page. Now ours is, Draka's sample page, but yours is going to be something different. Okay. And of course, we'll go over this admin panel and all the different tips in more detail later with the Facebook webinar itself. But I just wanted to give you an idea that we will be creating, for those of you who have purchased Facebook packages, we will be graphic designing your banner as well as your profile picture. In addition to that, we will be uploading, or we'll be creating 2 tabs for you on your Facebook page. Your About Us tab, which is your mission statement, tells people what you're about, what you sell, what you offer, that sort of thing. Your products, you're actually able to have your products directly on your Facebook page. So I'll give you an example. Let me show you this right here. So we're looking at our products page, and as you can see, it still says facebook.com, right? But we were able to sideload or backload, if you will, these products from your website directly onto your Facebook page. How can we do that? Because your website is synced with your business center and your Facebook is synced with your business center. So we're able to pull data from both of them and use them as we need to, and make it as simple as we can for you. Before, you'd need to know how to program, which is very complicated sometimes. But now you're going to be able to come in here and create pages and set these up and change these out well. So again, we will be setting up your About Us tab and your Products tab for you. Okay, but let's say you wanted to create a different tab. Like let's say you want to do a daily deals tab or a weekly deals or a monthly deals. All you need to do is click right here, and it will ask you to give the tab a name. So we're going to go ahead and call this weekly deals. We'll go ahead and save this. And now it's going to take us into the page where we can edit the weekly deals page. Okay, so we'll just let this load in. It usually takes about maybe 10-15 seconds to load up entirely. Okay, great. So here we go. So I want you to think of this. This is the page itself. So as you can see, if you were to go back to your actual Facebook page, let's go ahead and click there. We'll look at the tabs. As you can see, we now have one more tab here, the weekly deals, because we just added that. Now, subsequently, some of you may have questions about these pictures. Like, I don't want a light bulb as my products. Like, well, that has nothing to do with my business, right? Or, this nuclear symbol or, this atom symbol, whatever this is. It has nothing to do with, we're going to allow you to upload photos. That's a feature that we're currently working on right now. So you'll be able to add a photo there. So for those of you who have a question about this, that's what we're going to be getting to. Okay, but this is the weekly deals page now that we've set up. Okay, now down here at the bottom there is a bunch of different things you can click on. I want you to disregard everything except for widgets and saved widgets. These are the only 2 that we're going to be using. So go ahead and click on widgets, and then you'll want to click on e-commerce. Okay, and that's it. So again, you're going to come into your page by clicking on it, click on widgets, click on e-commerce. Okay, now widgets are the way that we are able to pull products from your website and add them to your Facebook page. Okay, now all of these widgets basically do the same thing. They're just taking your products from your page or your website and then adding it to Facebook. Okay, the only difference is they look different. So I kind of, the example I like to use is their candy bars, right? Everybody loves candy bars. They're sweet. We all have our favorites. And you might be in the mood for different ones at different times. So it's the same thing with this. So you might like the featured product in the beginning. Then you might want to, change it to the leveled product. So again, they all do the same thing. They just look different. Same present in a different wrapper, if you will. Okay, so what I will show you how to do here is, and also if you hover your mouse over the widget itself, it will give you a brief description of what it does. So in this case, I have it over the featured displays 4 different products in a stylized featured way, right? Level product displays a singular product in a horizontal style with additional information. Okay, to be honest, you're probably not going to get much from that. The easiest way to see what they do is just to left click on it, drag it up, and you want to make sure that you get it inside this box and that the box itself is highlighted blue. If you go up too high or if you go down too low, as you can see, the box goes clear again. And if you do that and you release, it's not going to do anything. So you're just going to want to make sure that you left click, hold it, and then release when you're in that box. Okay. And then from here, this is going to ask you what 4 products you would like to have included in this widget. Now, because again, this is the backdoor to your website, your products will automatically be loaded in here. So we'll go ahead and add A. So you can go ahead and just type in the first letter of whatever product it is, and it will pull up all the products that begin with that letter. So we'll do Bear Grylls knife. Okay, we don't have any that start with H, so we'll just pick that, and then there we go. Okay, so once you like what you have here, you'll just go ahead and click on Save. Now this padding right here, this is more of an advanced feature, which will add a border around the page itself. So you can play with that if you want, but you don't have to. But if you ever wanted to reset that, you can just click Reset right there. And subsequently, if you ever wanted to change a product that you put in here, like let's say you didn't want to put the access card, you just click on Reset and then just go ahead and type in what you did mean to put. Okay. Once you like it, go ahead and click on Save. Now again, this is going to be an example of what it's going to look like within the page itself. Okay. All you would need to do to make this live is to click on Publish, right? So as long as you don't click Publish, you really can't make a mistake in here, which is why I was saying think of it as your sandbox. You can just kind of play around with it, make your little sand castles. When you're done, you can just knock them down and build again, right? So let's say you do like this though, all you need to do is click on Publish. It will say that it's saving, and then it will say it's done. When it's done, you can click on View My Page right here, and that will take you directly to your Facebook tab that you just created called Weekly Deals, and you will be able to see exactly this. Okay, now let's say you find yourself coming back to this widget frequently, right? So you want to save this widget. All you need to do for that is click in here, click on Save Widget Configuration, and I'm going to call this, let's just say Black Friday, because this is one that I'm going to be using for Black Friday, and I've used it in the past as well. But click OK. All you need to do is down here at the bottom, click on Saved Widgets. Okay, and then you can find the Black Friday. It's right there. Also, if you just click on that X, it will remove this from the saved widget. So it'll delete it and it will no longer be there. But let me show you an example of this. I'm going to go ahead and delete this widget. So that's down here at the very bottom, delete. Are you sure you want to delete it? Click OK. And as you can see, if I drag this saved widget up, it has already saved all my preferences, right? It saved the knife and the type of widget and everything. So this may or may not be useful for you, just depending on how often you're reusing the same widgets, okay? But let me go ahead and delete this just to give you an example. Are you sure you want to delete this? Click OK, and now it's gone. Okay? Also, just so you know, over here if you ever wanted to minimize this bar, you can click right there on these 2 arrows going down, and that will hide it, because sometimes you will have multiple widgets or different things here, and it will go down further. So that's how you can do that. Also, if you ever wanted to move this around, just click right there, and you can move this, as you can see, around the page, however, whatever works for you. Okay? I like it down here at the bottom, so I'm just going to leave it here. But that's basically it for the updating your tabs within your Facebook fan page. So let's go ahead and delete this widget. And I'm going to show you, let's go back to widgets here again, make sure it's on e-commerce, and I'm going to show you vertical product. Now this one can be useful if there's like a certain theme or a color that you're trying to work with. So let's say I'm going to do the Bear Grylls knife. Okay, let's go ahead and do orange. Well, right there. Okay, and again, we have our advanced features. Again, you don't need to play around with this. This just shows where the picture is going to float on the page, as well as your padding and width again. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And here you go. So we have the picture on the left-hand side, and we have the orange text here, and the orange bubble, and the orange add to cart. As you can see, this matches nicely with, the theme that's going on with this particular item. Let's say I wanted to change the color and make that black. So I'm going to go ahead and black, save, and as you can see, now the text is black and this is black. So again, vertical product is good for whenever you're trying to have a theme go along with your tab there. Okay, we also have level product, product list, quad deals. So again, I just recommend that you all come in here and that you just play around with this, and see what each one does and what it looks like. And if you like it, go ahead and, add it. If you don't, then you can just go ahead and skip it. Okay, as long as you don't click publish, again, you're going to be okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Publish with this. It's done. I'm going to click back to Admin now because that's basically it for the widgets section here. And this will just take a minute to go back to the Business Center. And there we have it. So we have our weekly deals tab right here. But let's say we wanted to delete that. Maybe I want to move to more of a daily deals type setup where I'm doing it on a daily basis. It's going to be a lot more intensive, but I'm ready for it. I can just go ahead and click right there. Are you sure you want to delete this page? And now that page is gone. So if we were to come back to our Facebook page and refresh it, as you can see, there's no longer that extra page there. So again, you can create pages from Facebook here, or tabs, I should say, from your Facebook page. But the benefit of doing it from the Business Center is it already has all of your items and all of the coding and everything set up, so you can use those widgets, if you will, to add your products to your Facebook page, which can be very, very convenient for your customers who really like you, and if you're having a sale or something, they can go right in there. Okay, so that is it for the social dashboard. We basically have the communicate, the settings, and the Facebook pages. Now, we are going to be adding a plethora of options and things that this is going to be able to do. So this is going to be a currently evolving thing, and of course we will update this webinar and this video for you every time we do that. But we're going to be able to have a lot of features in here that is going to make this your one-stop shop for all of your social media needs. Okay, so again, as far as going over Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, again, I recommend you come to this website, the website webinartraining.com, and just click on social media right here, and that will take you to our webinars where you're going to be able to sign up for those. Okay, and we'll go over all of those intensively, not only what they are, how to use them, but also strategies with them, what you should be using, and hopefully that will give you a huge boost in getting started with social media. So I hope this has been helpful for all of you. Again, if you have any questions, we are here for you. You can call us, you can email us, we'll be in touch with you. But this concludes the webinar for today.